decades of experience in business development, enterprise sales, and client relationship management. With a strong background in SaaS and consumer, Mr. Ramesh has previously held leadership positions at Byju's, High Radius, Edutor Technologies, Johnson & Johnson, and eBay, where he consistently delivered growth and built high-impact partnerships. So everyone, with a big, big round of applause, please welcome Mr. Ramesh Kara on the stage.
Thank you. I don't know who wrote that. Sorry about that. Sorry. So I'll try and keep this really short. This is my first time at a HR event. So apologies in upfront. But of course, I'm from Hyderabad, so I also want to welcome all of you. It's home territory. So some of you heard of us, a lot of you have not. So I'll just keep this very simple, brief, talk about why we're here and what we do, right? Context is, of course, that you as HR professionals, I mean, these are some of the conversations that you have, right? Around talent acquisition, compensation, performance management, retention, employee engagement, organization culture, right? So, and you also observed that over the last, I think, over the last few years, one of the big patterns that you're seeing is this whole startup world, the hype around how startups are changing the world. And I'm sure that has a massive impact on you as HR professionals as well, on how talent is viewing life in a startup versus life in an established corporate, the pros and cons, and I don't want to get into all of the narrative. But I think the part that we are most excited by, and the reason why we've been doing this is, the whole conversation between an employee, what kind of can address all of these challenges is what we believe and what I think a lot of you talk about, the term ownership, right? And because if an employee has an ownership mindset, then pretty much a lot of these are sorted. And what we are saying is our purpose really is to unlock the power of ownership. Why? Because today's world, we know that the economy is defined by innovation. Human capital is really what powers innovation, and that what we're saying is, and what the world is seeing is, as professionals, you know, if ownership gets democratized, if an employee feels like an owner, is an owner, then that capital can fuel growth. That's the real unlock that a lot of the large, you know, companies changing the world today are experiencing. And our mission, our purpose is simply to unlock this power. Can we make everyone, every employee be an owner? Can he feel like an owner? And if we manage to do that, I'm sure you as HR professionals know how to kind of take the whole ship forward, right? And that's our purpose. We want to partner with companies to help them seed, build, harness the power of partnership. How do we do that? Our simply offering is equity management solutions, end to end, right? In fact, we started in 2021 as a tech-first company, but we also acquired a company called ESOP Direct. A lot of you might have heard of it. 20 years of experience in the Indian market around ESOPs, employee stock ownerships, or various forms of stock ownerships that can unlock this power of ownership, right? Obviously, we're based, headquartered in Singapore, but we have a very large office in Hyderabad, large office in Pune, now pretty much across India, also now entered the US market, right? Funded by a lot of companies, including Nykaa, MassMutual, Citibank, East Ventures, and of course, India Partners that's here, right? How are we unlocking the power of ownership? Basically, we serve founders and shareholders on the one hand, employees on the other hand, and of course work with HR teams and finance teams. Ironically, it's the HR teams that are the ones who have to engage employees and keep them employed, but we do a lot of work with finance teams because the term stock options comes with a lot of compliance related, accounting related stuff. So I've met quite a few people here who said, yeah, our company uses your product, but it's the corporate secretarial team that uses it or the finance team that uses it. That's the nature of a beast. We are saying we do everything from setup and advisory. That's seeding the power of ownership, right? Early days, somebody comes in. If you create a plan advisory, deployment, whether it's options, RSUs, SARs, different kind of structures, not just stock options. By the way, this is private companies, public companies, across the spectrum. We serve everybody. We do compensation benchmarking, especially around the equity, legal documentation all around. So that's when you set up. Of course, once you have a plan, then actually the plan management, the platform administration, whole process around grants, digital certificates, scenario modeling, If you are a startup and you want to be fundraise ready, all of the process around it, again, we do that. A lot of work of what we do is around employee engagement. We actually have something called an equity pay slip. So along with a pay slip where they get their pay, we also want to give in transparency on how they look, how does ownership look like, what does the future look like. We also do employee town halls to address all queries around employee stuff. Of course, then when you harness the power of ownership means the whole compliance piece. So all the valuations, amortization, compliance, filings, taxation, all of those headaches, again, our platform does a lot of it. We also have a services team that supports you in all of it. And last bit is, of course, unleashing the power of it, right? You really see the benefits of it when you actually run tender programs, liquidity. So a lot of companies, private companies run liquidity programs where employees can actually see the power of what ESOPs. Again, we enable a lot of it, run a lot of it. Listed companies, of course, is pretty straightforward, right? The market is out there, right? That's broadly what we do, right? We work with, I think, 2,800 plus companies across Asia, right? 57 of the unicorns on the private side, 140 listed companies. All of these we do work, of course, largely platform, but a lot of consulting and advisory work as well. We now entered the US market. We've got 100 plus customers in the US market as well. And that's also specifically the reason I'm calling it out is a lot of companies out here, you know, tech companies, headquarters in US, employees in India. That's a sweet spot. We'll make sure we handle all US compliances as well as India compliance. And even, I mean, we work with companies like Infosys, which has 30,000 employees across 170 countries. All of those we address, right? And we are not an Indian player, we are a global player. We are actually competing with Morgan Stanley as being the most, as the market leader. In fact, in terms of customer satisfaction, we are rated #1 on G2. Our offering and services, we want to leverage the Indian talent pool and say, can we offer best-in-class product? Can we offer best-in-class services, right? So I'm here just to introduce myself, talk about, this is not a short-term journey. We want to be here over the long term, work with you, like we said, right? Single mission, can we unlock the power of ownership? Can we be the enablers? You be the actual change agents, and then transform the workforces across the country. That's why we are. Thank you. Any questions? Happy to take it offline. We are here on a booth. I'll leave you to get on to the next panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I request you to please stay on the stage as we would like to felicitate you, sir. And to do so, I request Mr. Venkatesh Palabatla, Vice President, Human Resources, Avignon, India, to please come upon the stage and felicitate our speaker. A very big round of applause for him, everyone.